Om Shanti. 28th March 2019, Thursday. Today's blessing. May you be a self-sovereign with the awareness of being a child and a master, and make all the treasures yours. May you be a self-sovereign with the awareness of being a child and a master, and make all the treasures yours. At this time, you children are not just children, but you are the children who are the masters. One is a master who is a self-sovereign, and another is a master of the Father's inheritance. Since you are self-sovereigns, you have all your physical senses under your control, under your order. However, from time to time, you forget the awareness of being a master, and your mind takes control. And this is why the Father's mantra is Manmana Bhava. When you remain Manmana Bhava, you will not be influenced by anything wasteful, and you will experience all treasures to belong to you. So Baba is saying, we are children as well as we are masters. Master of, because we are self-sovereign, and second, we are the master of Father's inheritance. But Baba is saying, you forget this awareness of being a master, and that is why the mantra given by the Father is Manmana Bhava. Because the mind takes control, that is why when you are in mantra Manmana Bhava, Manmana Bhava, you will not be influenced by anything wasteful, and you will experience all treasures to belong to you. So this is a unique teaching by the Father, where Baba is saying we are not just children, but at the same time we are masters. And the greatest mastery in the world is self-mastery. The most powerful person in the world is the one who is the master of himself. That is known as self-sovereignty, or you call it self-mastery, whatever. The person is described in Gita as Sthitapragya Yogi. Sthitapragya Yogi means who is in complete control of himself. A yogi who is unaffected by anything outside. A yogi who remains uninfluenced. A yogi who is determined, who maintains the equitable position of the mind, the calm and composure of the mind in the face of all the adverse situations. So, the goal of this life, this is one of the goals, self-mastery, or to become self-sovereign. And what does it mean to become self-master? What does it mean to become a self-master? A person who is in complete control of himself. In that, many things would come. It will be mind, intellect, and sanskar, and before that, senses. So there are 5 senses. Sight, what you see. Smell, what you smell. Taste, what you listen, what you hear. And touch. Roop, ras, sparsha, shabda, gandh. That's what they call in Hindi. So, self-master means who controls all these five senses. First, eyes. Yesterday's Murli, Baba said something about eyes. What was that? They are very deceptive. Just don't ask how much deceptive they are. They are very, very deceptive. And what deceives the eyes? It is the color that deceives the eyes. It is the form that deceives the eyes. Person's beauty or picture or video or statues or evils, waste, negative. This is what eyes see. There are two things eyes do. First is watching and second is reading. So there occurs deception at these two levels. Watching those things which are forbidden. Reading those things which one should not. These are the two ways, two channels through which the Maya enters. This is the first thing, eyes or seeing. Self-mastery, self-sovereign means you control your eyes. And then seeing others' weakness. In watching, so many things are there. Watching all the body conscious things. That is first thing. Watching waste, watching negativity, seeing weaknesses, or getting attracted by the pomp of Maya, outside world, or the delicacies, or the food, anything. These all enter through the eyes. This is watching or seeing. So, some of the groups of spiritualists, they say that you should not look. These eyes are very, very nimble, chanchal. They keep on going from here to here, here to here. That's why there are a group of people who say that even Mahatma Buddha had said to all his disciples, while walking, you just look down, don't look here and there. That is known as downcast eyes. And there's a great secret behind that. Because wherever our eyes go or vision goes, energy flows. Wherever our vision goes, energy flows. Suppose I have to go from here to the gate of Pandavavan, and there are all the attractive, all the body conscious, all the vicious pictures and posters around, and I walk from that place. Even though I have no desire to look at those things, but the moment I see, my energy flows through the eyes. That's why they say that it is best that you walk with eyes downcast. No need to let the eyes roam here and there. And the greatest example is of Mama. When Nirvair Bhai was downcast. When Nirvair Bhai was taking Mama and Ramesh Bhai was sitting, and they saw some animation, some picture on the street, and when they came back, they told Mama that if he can make such a picture. Mama says, I have not seen, I don't know. So control of eyes is must. What the eyes see. Because all the falls in spirituality have occurred because of the spiritual deception. There is one word, spiritual blind spots. This is one of the spiritual blind spot. This is one of the spiritual deception. Eyes deceive, they hoodwink. So, control the eyes. No need to let the eyes roam here and there. This is also practice actually. There are some group of sannyasis, what they practice. They tie the blindfold. And this is an experiment. They try a blindfold in their room when they are in the room. And when they know it is safe, and they try to remain with that after 8 o'clock. And they see what happens. Just trying to hold things. If whatever is there, they will try to search with blindfold. This is also a practice for eyes. Though Baba doesn't mention all this, but definitely our eyes are very, very they have a tendency to wander here and there, to see every object, to see everything what is happening. If there is a mobile ring, who is it? If somebody is making some noise, who is it? We want to see everything. So eyes, they deceive like anything. So control of eyes. Then second is smell. This is the most benign senses, smell.
It's not in our control.
Yes, but then to make weird faces on getting fetid or bad odor, that is also a sign of body consciousness. It's a very bad smell and somebody is making like this and all that. So that means the nose is not under control. So you control it, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever. In the hospital you will have all the bad smell. But doctors and staff, they do tolerate. There are patients in the ICU for one month. There only. They're bad. I'm talking of that. So, to get too much affected or to remain too sensitive, that's another thing. One is allergic. But this is also part of the mind. It's a training of the mind. That we don't get affected by any bad odor or even fragrant odor. Whatever. Even if it is fragrance, start praising it. Oh, it's too good, it's too good, it's too good. And if it is in bad odor, start abusing it. Oh, who is this? It's a very bad odor. So, that is also not a sign of self-mastery. Then taste, that is most important thing. Yogi means who has conquered the taste. Yogi eats for living. He doesn't live for eating, but he eats for living. Our food should be homeopathic, in homeopathic doses. Our food should be subtle. Baba has mentioned in many times in Murlis, deities, they eat very subtle food, sukshma. So yogi's food cannot be like bhogi's food. An indulgent person and self-restrained person. Yogi and bhogi, they cannot eat the same food. I'm not talking of who is preparing it and how satopradhan and all those things. I'm talking about the quality, whether it is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. It's too much sour, it's too much chili, it's too much spicy, too much cooked, overcooked, too much oily, too much salty. This is not yogi's food. Yogi's food has to be simple, spiceless, if possible, uncooked, if possible, small in quantity. So, food. Then next is Listening. What do we hear? Control over that. It's not that you keep on listening to each and every news of the world. Our mind will become a garbage box if we keep on pouring everything into it. So one should be very selective. We need not to listen to each and every gossip that is making the rounds. There is no point in listening to everything. For example, there is a psychiatrist who is a very senior psychiatrist. Once a new assistant joins him, a student, who is also a psychiatrist but a student, and he sees that his master listens to one patient for half an hour. So he's asking, you are a psychiatrist from last 40 years and you listen to every patient's all this same complaints again and again. So the master says, the patient just speak. I just hear. Who listens? I don't listen. I just hear. Hearing and listening is different. If you keep on pouring everything into the mind will become dustbin. And there is so many news in the world. So one has to have a very selective listening. What is useful to me? I have no business in interfering in what others are doing, what others are saying. There is already so much internal chatter going on, and to put all the rubbish into that is not the call of the time. So listening, and then touch. What I touch and what I do not. I know that touch-born happiness is conducive to pain. So I also understand that any happiness which arises out of touch ultimately will turn into sorrow. That is given in Bhagavad Gita, that any happiness which arises out of touch ultimately will become unhappiness. Initially it will be nectar, later on it will become poison. So restrained of all the five senses. So this is to become Swarajya Adhikari, this is to become self-master, this is to become self-controller, this is to have self-mastery. So mastery over senses, and then mastery over mind, mastery over intellect, and mastery over sanskars. Which is most difficult out of all this? Senses, mind, intellect, sanskars. Mind. And second. And all four are difficult, but if you go first, sense control, anybody can do. It's easy. Mind control is difficult but can be done. Even more difficult is intellect control, and the most difficult is sanskar, because they are automatic. Because they are habits. They have become deep-rooted. They operate on their own. You don't have to do anything. It has become habit. You can form any habit. Mind, okay, you have a thought pattern, you can change, you can think, let me have new thought. But even if you think, let me have new sanskar, it is not a one-day game. Long, extended period is necessary. It's just like what we have to do everything for sanskars transformation, what an alcoholic does for de-addiction. An alcoholic who is addicted to alcohol from last 40 years. Every 2-3 months is okay. In Mount Abu there are so many alcoholics. They keep on coming to us. So 2-3 months they are okay, and then they drink suddenly. Whenever there is a sorrow, any loneliness, they go and drink again. There is a fight. So there are triggers. So in the similar manner, we know that this is not a good sanskar, and I get rid of this sanskar for 6 months. After 6 months, that sanskar suddenly arises, and I am just defeated. So that's why sanskar control is the most difficult thing, because it has got its roots in the subconscious mind, and it takes time. It is not suddenly. So Baba is saying self-sovereign means you are child and you are master. Two things. Child, everybody is a child of God. Second is mastery, means mastery of all the things. The strongest man in the world is the one who has mastered himself. It is not the victory over others or conquering others. It is about mastering oneself. Senses, mind, intellect, sanskars. So how to master sanskars? How to master sanskars? Or control sanskars?
Small changes every day.
Small changes every day. Bit by bit. Little by little. Little. And how to change? How to do sanskar transformation? You have to emerge new sanskars. Emerge sanskars of golden age. Emerge sanskars of supreme abode. So emerging old, eternal and original sanskars. Then? What to do with what? Okay. See the disadvantages of old sanskars. See the harms that is done to me because of this sanskar. Then, what else? Sanskar? Yeah? Replacement. Okay. It's not mine. It's somebody else's. It's not mine. So that is also one way Baba has told. It's Ravan's property. It's not mine. But you deny it. Then, what else? Try to understand that sanskar. You cannot get rid of any sanskar just by suppression. As I said, an alcoholic or a smoker, he is addicted to smoking from last 40 years. And suddenly somebody comes, oh, give up this smoking. And he says, okay, I have given up. It's not that easy. There is one thing which is known as halt. These are the triggers for any sanskar. Alcoholic, he has given up alcohol. The moment he is hurt, the sanskar will emerge. Or hungry. He feels lonely and the sanskar will emerge. Lonely, sanskar will emerge. Tired, he will feel, again the sanskar will emerge. There's one more from A. I don't remember what is it. But that is known as halt. No. These are the points where sanskars are triggered. As I said, an alcoholic who has given up alcohol, suddenly failure happens. There is a business loss. He goes back to alcohol. There is a hurt. Somebody has hurt him. He goes back. There is a depression. He goes back to alcohol. These are the triggers. He is ill. He is sick. He goes back to alcohol. These are negative triggers. Yeah. So one has to understand sanskars and also understand the triggers of sanskars. This is more important. Example, lust. It's not about that I have conquered lust and all that. It's not like that. It's about knowing the triggers. There must be some triggers. Some visual triggers, some auditory trigger, some tactile trigger, or some psychological trigger. Some imagination has gone, sensual fantasy. That will trigger lust. Otherwise lust doesn't come. Person must have seen something, read something, remembered the past indulgent behavior, then only the lust would be triggered, otherwise not. So one must identify triggers, Phillips, stimuli for any sanskar. This is very important. So understand sanskar, identify the triggers, deny them face them, reject them. What else? And replace, emerge previous sanskars. And most important thing for sanskar transformation is powerful yoga. Without bodiless stage, without practice of bodiless stage, no sanskar transformation happens. Deep churning of knowledge is necessary for sanskar transformation. Every day, deep churning of knowledge. Why this is coming to me again and again? For example, somebody has a habit of crying, or sensitive nature, or getting angry. So one has to contemplate on that sanskar. What are the triggers? What make me cry? What make me upset throughout the day? What makes me angry throughout the day? What are the triggers? Is it the person? Somebody comes and does something and I become angry. What is it? So identifying triggers is must. So we are two children and we are masters. So master means mastering senses, mastering mind, mastering intellect, mastering sanskars. Most difficult, as I said, is mastering sanskar. Understand the sanskars. And rather than using the word sanskar, replace it by another word, habit. Habit is a more light and better word. Sanskar means you find it is like a big mountain. The habit means, okay, I want to change this habit. It's little better word. So I want to change this habit of crying, getting upset. It's a better word. It's like everybody uses it. Sanskar means it's a monster, big monster. Sanskar. How to fight with it? So use the word, better word is habit. I want to change the habit. I want to change my habit of Amritvela habits, Murli habits, kitchen habits, bathroom habits, drinking habits, eating habits, everything. Brahmin life is habits. Eating habits, talking habits, working habits, sleeping habits, waking up habits, churning habits, speaking habits, yoga habits, dharana habits, seva habits. So I want to work on the habits. Drinking habits. Om Shanti.